microclad. All right, got my microclad on the block. All right, this is my little 12-inch micro racer entry. All right, yeah, the microclad. That's what we're going to deem this boat, the microclad. So we've got it. To build this boat, this is part 2 of a 3-part series, okay? We got the batteries in, all right, two 2S70C 450 milliamp packs, all right? Probably gonna run one. If that don't do it, we're gonna run 2 in series. Boom. Receiver, our 2030 brushless motor, easy run, 5200 kV. Got our carbon fiber 2.5 millimeter boom tubes that we're going to be using either silicone tubing or this fuel line tubing to keep them in place. We got our turn fin mount. All right, I think I'm going to make it adjustable like this just because. And our little micro turn fin that we've got to redo. All right, I've got a propeller that I've got started. Custom propeller I've got to finish up. It's the third one. All right, first one I did electrical solder just to see if I can freaking do it. Silver soldered the second one. Look how much freaking pitch that is. That one ain't gonna work. This one right here is looking promising, huh? Right now it's 26 millimeters. Okay, smaller than any Octura prop you could find. All right, we got our through hole for the steering linkage. I've got some steel rods here, some 0.36 steel rods to go in that capillary tube, just like Dr. Jet's 120 build. So yeah, I'm going to make the motor mount out of a piece of aluminum. All right, it's going to be the sides will be balsa wood or birch. All right, and then we're going to put the motor on a piece of thin aluminum. Hopefully that'll help keep some of the temps down. Possibly we're going to run for water cooling if we need it. We're possibly going to run a piece of tubing out the transom like that, because I got a thick transom, and bend it as like a blast, a water blast pickup, water cooling. Yeah, that's the plan. All right, let's get to it. Let's build a microclad. Let's build a freaking boat. We've got to put the boom tubes in the boat. All right, we've got to run the boom tubes through the tub and attach them to the sponsons. Okay, the tricky part with this little boat is actually getting the freaking getting everything locked into place as light and keeping it as light as you possibly can. Okay, so what I've got planned for the sponsons and to hold the boom tube into the boat so that it's not going to move around, and we can move the sponsons on the boom tube, move the boom tube in the tub. What I got planned for that is I'm going to use some fuel line. Okay, just regular fuel line. I've got some 2.5 millimeter boom tubes, carbon fiber. Okay, I've got some 1/8 inch fuel line, or 3.3 millimeters. Okay, basically 1/8 inch. I've also got silicone line, which is basically the same diameter as the fuel line. Okay, so we're actually going to put the fuel line, the green line, into the sponson. All right, and then we're going to cut little pieces of this fuel line to go over both sides. Then we're going to put the boom tube into the fuel line. Once we do that, it should expand the fuel line and lock it into place. All right, now I've already shot this part of the video and this is the second day. Yesterday, what I ran into the problem whenever I put the silicone tube in, I drilled my hole out into the balsa. Bare wood was showing. I put my silicone tube in, and when I did that, it expanded. It basically expanded the balsa. All right, it was nice and tight, you know, and I put it back in there, and it expanded it, and it loosened it up. So what I did last night was I epoxied. I drilled the hole out larger than what I needed. So I did basically 3.9, 3.8 millimeters. All right, this is only 3.2, probably going to expand to 3.5. I drizzled epoxy in there with the hairs. Okay, and I built up around the boom tube holes. All right, with epoxy, basically on both sides. And I did it right here because we're going to have a connection here as well. The reason I went ahead and I basically killed 2 birds with 1 stone, epoxying inside these holes. All right, it's going to waterproof the wood so the wood don't get wet. All right, and you know, 2, it won't stretch the wood out or potentially split the wood with the pressure from the tube being in there and all the and running the boat and the vibrations and movement from the boat. All right, so now I'm gonna put this little piece of silicone tubing on my boom tube first, and then we're gonna slide the carbon fiber tube into this fuel line. All right, twist it. Gotta do it ever so gently so we don't break the sponson, crack it, split it. Oh man, that's locking it in there. Nice. All right, so that's locked. Ooh, yeah. Oh man, that's good. My plan is to take this silicone tube and try to roll that over the fuel line. All right, that's gonna put some pressure on the fuel line, keep that in place. Oh, I can already feel a difference with that silicone tube on there. All right, the silicone tube, it come from an old printer I took apart for parts a while back. It was the ink line for a printer. I've rinsed the ink out, but I've used it for a lot of projects, man. It was a lot of it. But that's the final damn. Look at that. Nice. Man, that's nice. That's going to be perfect. Lightweight, and it's going to keep everything locked in tight. Okay? That's freaking perfect, man. That is perfect. Boom! Ah, yeah, it looks good. It looks good. Look how solid that is. Look. Look at that, man. That's solid. Like, I'm moving it a lot, too, and it's moving. This thing's light. This boat's going to be super light, so a little bit of play is going to be okay. And we hadn't even made the connection out here yet. Once we make that a connection, it's going to lock everything in. Okay, that's the way I designed it. On the inside here on the tub, I didn't use the fuel line. I had this really thin-walled plastic tube. I think it's 3.5 millimeters. All right, it fit this carbon fiber tube almost perfect. All right, tight tolerance. So I ran it all the way across the tub from one side to the other. I had to put some 5-minute epoxy on this to I had to actually shim it up to get them, you know, level and everything. So I got them level and it looks freaking awesome. Yeah, man. Yeah. We'll be able to tow in, tow out, move the boom tubes in, take them out, put them in, put short ones in, put long ones in, blah, blah, blah. Let's build a freaking rudder. Let's do the rudder. Let's hook up the rudder, all right? All right, so I've got my rudder installed. I don't have the nuts on it, nuts and bolts, but I got the rudder on. I added a couple extra holes for tunability. Okay, I've got a 30mm prop right here. All right, and my stuffing tube is basically going to come out the boat right there. All right, putting my prop on, make sure I have clearance. Okay, I drilled my hole too low, and my propeller was hitting my steering linkage because I was going to run my steering linkage under this rudder arm. All right, so I've actually moved my steering through hole right here. Okay, I'm using some 3/32 brass tube. All right, I'm using 0.032 music wire and 1/32 capillary tube with a 0.08 inside diameter for my through hole, just like the Atlas 120s build. You can make your through hole however you want it. That's how I'm doing it. I had a little piece of leftover capillary tube, so you know, why not? I bought some new music wire. That's the part number right there if you're interested. 0.032 music wire from K&S Hobbies, and the through hole that I'm using. All right. So yeah, I'm gonna run my steering linkage basically on that freaking seam. That's why I was running it on the underside. I was trying to stay away from that seam right there, but it's gonna be okay. We probably won't be running no bigger than a 30mm prop on this boat anyway, so that's going to give us plenty of leeway. All right, so I got a 2.3mm drill bit on here. We're going to drill this through hole out with. Jeez, not my day to build. All right, my transom is actually doubled up from the inside. Okay, I had a piece of this leftover balsa. It's some thick balsa. All right, this is 1/32 balsa, and this balsa here is 6.3mm thick. All right, I basically doubled up the inside of my transom with this 6.3mm balsa. All right, my thoughts were structurally and rigidity, and it will add a little bit of flotation. Also, it's very buoyant. That's what they make fishing corks out of. So let's put our through hole in, since we got the hole drilled here. All right, and I put a Z-bend on the end of my linkage right there. Okay, only thing about a Z-bend is you're gonna have to take your rudder off or servo off to get a Z-bend on your rudder arm. All right, that's the only downfall about using a Z-bend. It's gonna save some weight, so we're not putting any easy connectors on. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna save us some weight there, but it's not gonna give us any see, it's going to save us some weight with an extra nut, that big easy connector. But it's going to make it kind of a pain in the butt to get the steering rod in and out. So once we bend our Z-bend back here and we put our bend in the steering rod to make it to our servo arm, you're basically locking in this steering linkage. You'll basically have to take the bends out or cut the wire to get it in and out. Because I'm putting a Z-bend up here too. You know what I'm saying? So that's just something to think about. If you don't want to use a Z-bend, you can go the easy connector route for the servo, the rudder. You're definitely going to have to put a Z-bend on your servo. It's so freaking tight in here. That arm's going to have move back and forth. So just saying. All right, I'm gonna get some 5-minute epoxy mixed up for this through hole. Go ahead and get that done. Okay, go ahead and get that epoxied into the boat so we can bend our well, I'm not going to bend anything yet. I'm just going to epoxy that in, let it start curing out, and then we're going to start the motor mount. Okay, I'm going to epoxy everything else, like reinforce the side of my hole right here where these screws for the rudder is. I'm going to reinforce that when I reinforce the insides of this, and watertight the insides of these holes. It's just little things you got to think about when you're building your boat. Little things like that. And that's the freaking challenge, you guys. That's the challenge of building a small boat. We take a lot of this stuff for granted when we build larger boats. Look at all this real estate back here on my 35. Plenty of freaking room. I thought I had a hard time with my Delta Force fitting everything on, but the little riggers or the 12-inch micro racer challenge, that's the freaking challenge. That's why I put my rudder on the side of the boat like this to free up a little bit of room on the transom, just in case I want to put a strut on here later on or something. So I'm gonna go ahead and epoxy this in. I'm not gonna video that. You've seen me epoxy stuff 1,000 times. Boom! Got plenty of throw that way and that way. Okay, that's perfect. And let's check our prop. Make sure it's not gonna hit the linkage. It looks like it's good, so we probably can run the propeller in the center now. All right, because I'm actually gonna make a different ski and lower that ski a little bit. That way I can have some more room for up and down adjustability. It needs some down angle on it, really. Bear with me a little bit here while I try to show you my motor mount, what I've got planned for the motor mount, and kind of what I've got planned for the turn fin. You're gonna have to bear with me because I hadn't drilled the hole for my sponson yet, so just bear with me. The reason I'm showing you this is motor placement. All right, I've got this CNHL 450 milliamp 70C 2S pack. All right, I've got two of them. I'm going to put water cooling on it. Since this part right here is going to be thin aluminum, all right, the motor plate and the sides are going to be wood, I'm going to try to incorporate water cooling into the motor mount. I adapted that idea from the Aquacraft mini mono right here. All right, it's got the water cooling tube, an aluminum motor plate, all right, and a water cooling tube. Okay, and I mean, like G-Man had said, he don't know how much it cools, but he's never had any heat issues with this boat. Okay, with the mini mono. All right, so we're going to use that same design to save space. I'm going to put the water cooling on the underside of the motor. Okay, on the underside of the motor, bend one side of my tube, the side that's going to be up against the wall here. We're going to bend that. All right, I've got this 3mm super small fuel line that we're going to run, okay, with a blast pickup. We're going to use that same 3/32 brass tube. We're going to run it right through the transom here, since I doubled that transom up, remember? And we're going to bend this tube to pick up a blast. Lightest way I can think of doing it. All right, and it shouldn't create that much drag if we get it dialed in right. Yes, we can do a rudder with water cooling, yes, but I'm on a budget. I'm on a freaking budget. My wife's got me on a budget, especially with a new baby. All right, I'll be in the doghouse if I keep ordering stuff. I was lucky I could even get all the electronics for these builds. All right, so we got the water cooling on the motor mount. All right, aluminum motor plate. Okay, it's going to go in there like this. And I may have said it earlier. I might have deleted it. I don't know, but I've got these two batteries that I want to put in this boat, possibly, if I can make the weight. Like I said, it's a half a gram over. I'm thinking if I take the shrink wrap off of them, I can make it. So we may run these 270C2S packs in series in the front of the boat up here. Okay, with 70C, that's a high discharge battery. We need water cooling, all right, especially on these high kV motors, especially if I'm running 900 milliamp batteries in series. All right, so, and what I'm trying to get at is I want my motor far enough back so I can get my weight forward for my turn fin. All right, my turn fin is going to be mounted on this guy right here. All right, I did it like this because I think it looks freaking cool. Okay, and I mean, we might have to change it up. It might not work. It might have too much wobble, but I'm going to epoxy this onto the sponson. If I don't epoxy it onto the sponson, you see my little marks right here, I might make this turn fin bracket so I can adjust it back or forward. Okay, it really won't be that ethical to be able to do this back and forward, but it may, especially if I have a couple different turn fins. If I put it back, it's actually going to pick the turn fin up out of the water. So if I make a couple different turn fins that have a long shank up here and a short shank, I can, you know, kind of play with my turn fin and weight distribution, all right, with this type of bracket, if I make it adjustable. If not, I'm just going to line it up, basically this bottom line in line with the ride surface, and go from there with it epoxied in the boat, which is probably what I'll end up doing because we don't want no play. You know, I use one of those 1.5 millimeter screws right here, you know, and you know, with a washer, and tighten down on it, and having some adjustability. That's just a thought. Like I said, this is in the brainstorming process. This whole boat is. My motor mount. All right, this is a little easy way to let's see here. Let me get my center mark here. My motor mount's 30 millimeters wide. All right, we got to get our center mark here. Okay, and what I do is when I'm getting my motor mount, my head screws and stuff, I'll put it on my center mount, my center mark, and basically push down on everything. All right, and it leaves those little indentions right there. You see that? All right, then once I get those indentions, I'll take my straight edge, boom, 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 and mark out my head screws, okay, and my shaft for my motor. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, show you what it looks like when I'm done, and then we'll actually cut out a motor mount, which I'm gonna go ahead and do right now. Okay, go ahead and cut your motor mount out, get you the angle that you want, slide your cardboard on, copy another one, you have a motor mount started. Okay, I'm going to notch my aluminum and I'm going to notch the wood so that it fits together like so, and it'll be nice and rigid, and then we can epoxy everything together. Alright, but it's going to be something like that right there. You guys get the idea. Okay, and then you can kind of mess around and try to get the motor angle right so you can line it up to your stuffing tube. Okay, so I'm going to work on that. The video is going to be long already. I'm just going to show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so I got my motor mount mocked up. Alright, just kind of cut those slits in it so I can pull the motor in and out. I think that's a good angle right there. So let's see how it works in the boat, because I'm going to be using this wire drive right here, and I can't have a big angle in it. You know, I can't have a big bend. It'll definitely, over time, it will break this wire. So have to keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? And it needs to be done right, because this is thin aluminum, and you could basically cut it with scissors, but I want to use my Dremel with a cutoff wheel to get these head screw for the motor. Alright, and then I gotta slit it right here, and all that's got to be precise. So I'm going to use some masking tape, tape this thing down, and go to town. Got the motor mount cut out. Alright, it's a little rough, a little bit rough, but it'll work. It'll work. I think it'll freaking work. What do y'all think, huh? It's a little bit thin, but that's the whole idea. I want it to dissipate heat. Thinner the metal, the more dissipation. Alright, heat dissipation. So that's gonna freaking work. Alright, may have to put a little washer under our screws just to clamp down on it nice, you know. But that'll do it. That'll freaking do it, huh? That side square. Boom. Done. Nice. So we're gonna have to notch it like right here for our rails. Drill a hole out like right in here for the water cooling. Motor mount. Alright. It's pretty thick, okay, and it probably would work, but birch and balsa have a tendency to split when you're cutting diagonal into the wood, diagonally into the grain. So I've got this piece of epoxy that I laid up. I've also got some fiberglass, but this is actually lighter. I laid down, I had some leftover epoxy from a project, and I just took a couple squares of fiberglass sheet, laid it down on a piece of glass, laid down my epoxy on the fiberglass chop strand mat on the glass, let it cure out, and I peeled it off. Boom. Perfect for rails. Okay. It's not got a perfect finish, but it's going to be perfect inside this boat, because it's going to be better than birch, is what I'm trying to say. So, you know, once you start seeing your build start coming together like this, you know, all the little missing pieces, especially if you're making everything homemade like I am. Oh man, this is exciting. This is the fun part. This is the freaking fun part. Starting to see it come together. You know, all that planning and thinking and pondering you've done for the last freaking 2 weeks or so. It's all starting to come together. The pieces are starting to fall into place. Literally, you know what I'm saying? Literally starting to fall into place. Oh, I sanded the wrong freaking thing. Oh, I should have sanded the rail. Oh, I'm an idiot. Getting excited, boys, getting excited. Yeah, it turned out freaking awesome, you guys. Check out the cooling tube I put on it. Alright, direct contact with the aluminum motor mount. Alright, those little grooves I cut for the motor to slide into, it's actually going to act as like a cooling fin, I would think. Personally, I would think. But it looks good, you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and epoxy it into the boat. I got my epoxy mixed up. We're gonna epoxy it right into the freaking boat. All right, boom. Okay. I made it so I can hook my cooling line up, and this cooling tube will not come out of this motor mount at all. All right, and I'm hoping that this 3/32 tube will have plenty of flow, because it's small, but you don't need all the flow, you just need some pressure. And I think the blast pickup will push that water through this motor mount perfectly. All right, boom. And we can like put them up, put it down, run them low down on the tub, or however we want to do it, you know. That's going to be perfect. That's perfect right there. It's looking good, huh? It's looking freaking good, right? Yeah. I got my blast water pickup mocked up in case we want to run water cooling later on. Got the rudder hooked up. It's hooked up to the freaking servo. Boom! I'll show you what it looks like running in the next video, because we still got to run stuffing tubes and install the freaking rear ski back there. But I got the motor installed. Huh? The cooling tubes move up and down to make it convenient for hooking up and getting hoses out the way. All right, the motor mount turned out awesome. I've got it epoxied into the boat, solid. Yeah, the batteries, both batteries fit up there, no problem. The receiver, ESC is gonna go over there. Boom! You guys seen how I did the boom tube? Okay, I'm not gonna repeat myself there. I've dropped my freaking prop balancer on my hatch. All right, jeez, I broke my hatch in half. All right, but I'm actually kind of glad I did, because I made another one, and it actually is working out better. I put a hook in the back and in the front, so thin you can bend it to hook in up front. You know what I mean? Boom. All right, I'm gonna epoxy that, have it ready for the third episode. Okay. Yeah, and then the next one, so we got stuffing tube, turn fin, ski, and take the damn boat out and run it. Since I've actually made another rudder. All right, this is the one with the thick metal, a short one for this boat. All right, so I got 3 now to change out. All 3 of them are interchangeable. All right, so yeah, this thing's looking badass. Speaking of, oh yeah, the prop. Check out the little prop, 24 millimeters. I've been working on it. Look at there. Ooh, got that thing cupped out, huh? Look at that. Yeah. All right. And I actually put on a boat, man. It's got some freaking power. All right. Think about this. I got something for you guys to think about. The gears have been turning here at Ironclad RC. All right. So you, after this, I'll let you go. Y'all think about this now. All right, you build your rigger, okay, and something's not right, the AOA's not right, and you just want to or you just want to freaking play with your AOA and see what the freaking boat does, if you could make it go faster, but your sponsons are locked into place. Once you install the boom tubes, the collars, it's locked in. You have to drill it out, put shims in it, and all that mess to really mess with the angle of attack on your freaking boat, okay? Or you build your boat, it's not running right. So, Big B here at Ironclad RC's got you. Yeah, all right, so check this out. A pivot point, all right, elongated hole. Your sponson, okay? Why not make a freaking sponson kind of designed like this, with the ride surface on this part, all right, make it so you can adjust the AOA with the turn of a freaking screw, okay, like that. All right, now this idea is about as big an idea as my freaking interchangeable ride pads on a catamaran, okay? This idea right here, it's gonna work, and I'm gonna freaking test it out. I'm gonna build it for this boat right here. All right, why freaking not? Why not have your ride pad, your sponson, so you can pivot your ride surface and change it up All right, and see how fast you can get your freaking boat to go with, you know, lower AOA or higher AOA. See what the freaking boat does, just to tinker, just to have, you know, just to have something to freaking do. Why not? You guys think that'll work? I got my gears turning. Y'all ponder on that now. Ponder on that. Y'all let me know what you freaking think, because I think it would work. I really do. I think it would freaking work. All right. Yeah, I'll let you guys go. I'm going to quit rambling on and jacking my freaking jaws. I'm going to let y'all go, all right? We'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching. Big B with Ironclad RC, a channel where we tinker, test, and tune everything RC. We'll see y'all next time.